Alright, so you've got an interview coming up. You've done all the prep work, you've watched all the YouTube videos out there, you have all the responses to the typical interview questions. What is your greatest weakness? No problem. So tell me about yourself. Bang. Why do you want to work here? Boom. And I'm going to tell you exactly how it's all going to go down. Go in for your interview, sit down, have some cordial small talk. She's going to ask you some questions. You're going to ask 2 or 3 questions, say goodbye, shake hands, escort you out, and that's it. You see how the whole thing is fairly predictable? You're doing the exact same thing that everyone else does. So today I'm going to share a few tricks to help you really stand out, to really help you make a great impression at your interview. Guys, stay tuned. Hey guys, it's Brian, also known as the 101 Mentor, and my goal is to help you guys create a life you're proud of. So we tackle all the big buckets in life. If you want more content like today's video, please hit that subscribe button. Okay, let's get to it. Now, when it comes to the interview session, we've been taught that we're supposed to ask questions at the end of the video. Well, I'm going to tell you that that's wrong, and that's my first tip. You want to start asking questions at the very beginning, and this is going to really shock the interviewer, and if you do it in the right way, it'll shock them in a good way. Now, of course, these aren't going to be your typical or standard questions that you would ask normally at the end of the interview, like what's the next step in the process or what's a typical day like. Instead, what you're trying to aim for is a pattern interrupt. So typically in the interview, the interviewer, the HR manager, or the hiring manager is going to ask you, so tell me about yourself. Well, that's a really good question. I really want to answer that. But before I do, I just feel like I need to ask you this because I've been looking at your company for so long. I'm really excited to be here and to be interviewing with you. Can I ask, what got you here? What do you like about this place? And just like that, you've asked the hiring manager a question at the very beginning of the interview. You've actually set a tone, and you've done it in a way that is nice, pleasant, and flattering. You want to know more about him or her, and they're going to be happy to answer that question. The fact that you came out with a question, guys, I'm going to tell you something. The interviewer, the HR manager, they love it when you guys have questions. The fact that you're throwing it out this early is actually very different from what everyone else is doing. Remember that this guy's going to be your boss, so it's really important that you are following the social etiquette, but just peppering these types of questions throughout your interview would be really, really helpful for you so that you've made an impression that they're going to remember. Now, the next tip I have for you builds off the first one, and that is because you're going to be asking questions throughout the interview process, you're going to be constantly learning more about the situation, about the challenges, about the exact requirements, about the needs of the hiring manager throughout the entire interview. You can actually use this to your advantage as you start crafting your responses to your future question. Let me give you an example. Let's say the boss or the hiring manager says to you, Brian, tell me about a time when you had to learn something really complicated in a very short amount of time. Actually, I've got a lot of good examples. To help narrow it down, is there something that you find challenging here, or is there something that you're trying to fulfill in this role, or a specific issue that you want this new person, this new candidate to address? So what happens now is the hiring manager is going to answer that question and actually reveal his or her exact needs. Now you can frame your response to that specific need, and that way it really shows that you are the right candidate. Maybe he or she reveals a specific situation or need that doesn't really correlate to this response for the specific question that he's asked, but that's okay. Now you can put that nugget of information into your brain and use it for a future question. And so the more information you get from them throughout the interview, the better you can tailor your responses for the next subsequent question. And as a result, you become the most ideal candidate and someone that they would absolutely remember. And that, at the end of the day, is exactly what you want. Now, there is one caveat here, and that is all this stuff isn't going to work unless you have the proper preparation and foundation in your basic fundamental interview skills. So be sure to check out my other videos, how to answer the question, what is your greatest weakness? And I also have another video about the worst interview I experienced. Remember guys, I'm here to answer your questions as well. So be sure to submit it to me. Go to my website, 101mentoring.com, and I'll answer it in a video just like this. Guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.